glorious Monday morning to participate in our topping off ceremony to our building. This building represents the growth.
Subaru CEO Atsushi Osaki just revealed the return of the BRAT, and that kind of announcement does not land like a routine product update. It lands like a signal flare. The BRAT name carries a particular weight because it is not just another badge from Subaru's past. It belongs to an era when the company was willing to be slightly odd, slightly playful, and completely unconcerned with fitting into the industry's neat categories. Bringing that name back immediately turns a vehicle reveal into something larger than a launch. It becomes a statement about identity. It says Subaru is ready to revisit one of the most distinctive chapters in its history and reinterpret it for a market that has once again become fascinated by compact utility, expressive design, and vehicles with strong personality. Before we start, hit the like and subscribe buttons for more exclusive news. What makes the event so compelling is the contrast between the BRAT's old image and Subaru's present position. Modern Subaru has built a durable reputation around practical all-wheel drive vehicles, safety, outdoorsy credibility, and a kind of rugged sincerity that resonates with buyers who value function over flash. The BRAT belongs to that same family tree, but it expresses those values with a much louder grin. It represents the moment when utility became whimsical without losing usefulness. So when Osaki reveals the BRAT's return, he is not merely reviving an old model line. He is reconnecting Subaru with a more mischievous version of itself, one that still understood capability but was not afraid to package it in something memorable, quirky, and culturally sticky. That is why the event feels important beyond the vehicle itself. Corporate leaders reveal many things, but not all reveals reshape how a brand is perceived. This one has the potential to alter Subaru's emotional profile. A revived BRAT gives Subaru access to nostalgia, but nostalgia alone is never enough to justify a comeback. The real significance lies in how the old name can be translated into a modern product that serves current desires. Buyers are increasingly drawn to vehicles that blur categories, stand apart visually, and feel less anonymous than the endless stream of similarly sized crossovers. The BRAT, by its very concept, is built for that environment. It is an answer to sameness before the question is even fully asked. The reveal also changes the tone of conversation around Subaru leadership. Atsushi Osaki, making this kind of move, suggests a willingness to do more than preserve what already works. It suggests confidence. Reviving an iconic but unconventional nameplate is not something a cautious executive does unless there is a larger vision behind it. Subaru already has dependable pillars in its lineup, and that means a move like this reads as strategic expansion rather than desperation. It frames Osaki as a leader interested in heritage not as museum material, but as a living resource. The company is not simply mining the past for recognition. It is using the past to introduce fresh energy into the present. The BRAT's return is powerful because of what the original vehicle symbolized. It was compact, practical, and cheerful in a way that few vehicles dared to be. It stood in a space between truck and car, and that ambiguity is part of why it remained memorable. In today's market, that sort of in-between thinking is not a liability. It is exactly the kind of idea that feels timely. Consumers have become more comfortable with vehicles that refuse old definitions. They buy crossovers instead of sedans, lifestyle trucks instead of work-only pickups, and compact utility vehicles that serve many roles at once. A modern BRAT can enter that world not as an outdated curiosity, but as an unexpectedly natural fit. That is one of the biggest implications of the reveal. It suggests Subaru sees a market opportunity in compact utility that extends beyond traditional crossover logic. The BRAT is not interesting because it can compete head-to-head with every mid-size pickup or every small SUV. It is interesting because it does not need to. Its value lies in occupying a more character-driven niche where usability and image reinforce one another. People do not remember distinctive vehicles merely because they were efficient or sensible. They remember them because they had a point of view. The BRAT has always had one, and Osaki's reveal indicates Subaru believes that point of view can still attract attention in a crowded market. There is also a branding implication that matters just as much as the product implication. Subaru has long been admired, but admiration can sometimes solidify into predictability. The company is trusted, yet trust alone does not always create excitement. Excitement often comes from the feeling that a brand still has surprises left in it. The BRAT's return injects surprise. It tells audiences that Subaru's future may not be limited to careful refinement of existing formulas. It shows there is room within the brand for vehicles that are expressive and even a little rebellious. That is valuable because excitement expands attention far beyond the likely buyer pool. Even people who would never purchase the vehicle begin talking about Subaru differently. The event also has design implications that are hard to ignore. Any revival of the BRAT invites immediate scrutiny over how Subaru interprets its shape, stance, and spirit. The original vehicle was compact in a way that felt agile rather than compromised. It looked approachable and useful at the same time. A modern return would have to preserve that sense of compact confidence while updating proportions for contemporary safety standards, customer expectations, and platform realities. The very fact that Subaru is willing to take on that design challenge is revealing. It means the company believes the BRAT's essence is strong enough to survive translation into the present without collapsing into parody. That matters because revival projects often fail when they treat history as a costume. The most compelling legacy vehicles are not those that copy old details mechanically, but those that understand why those details mattered in the first place. The BRAT was never just a small pickup with unusual styling. It embodied lightness of spirit. It felt informal and adventurous. It was useful without looking severe. If Osaki's reveal is credible, then the implication is that Subaru understands the return must be built around that deeper character rather than superficial retro gestures. A successful BRAT comeback would need to feel like the old idea has matured without losing its humor. Another implication is that Subaru sees increasing value in emotional segmentation. The modern car market is saturated with rational offerings. Many vehicles are competent, quiet, technologically capable, and almost completely forgettable. Rationally, they are difficult to criticize. Emotionally, they are impossible to love. The BRAT operates in the opposite direction. Its greatest strength has never been sterile perfection. It has always been charm tied to usefulness. By reviving it, Subaru signals an awareness that modern buyers do not choose solely with spreadsheets in mind. They also choose with memory, imagination, identity, and lifestyle aspiration. The BRAT name is uniquely suited to activate all of those things at once. The reveal further implies that Subaru is prepared to engage more aggressively with lifestyle branding. Subaru has always had strong associations with outdoor living, recreation, and active routines. But the BRAT gives those associations a more playful vehicle through which to travel. It suggests not just going outdoors, but doing so with flair. It invites imagery of gear in the back, weekend escapes, beach roads, mountain towns, trailheads, and practical freedom. The difference is subtle but important. Standard utility vehicles often communicate readiness. The BRAT communicates readiness with personality. That distinction can be commercially meaningful because consumers increasingly want products that say something about them beyond basic competence. There is also an interesting tension between seriousness and fun embedded in the event. Subaru as a brand has often leaned on authenticity, safety, and confidence in difficult conditions. Those are serious virtues. The BRAT adds something less sober but equally compelling. It reintroduces a sense of mischief. That does not weaken the brand, it broadens it. One of the most intriguing implications of Osaki's reveal is that Subaru may be seeking a richer emotional palette, one that includes reliability and spontaneity in the same picture. The modern auto industry frequently separates those qualities, giving consumers sensible vehicles on one side and image-centric vehicles on the other. The BRAT has the potential to complicate that division. This is where the event becomes more than nostalgia marketing. Nostalgia by itself usually aims backward. The BRAT reveal, at least conceptually, aims sideways and forward at the same time. It reaches into Subaru's history not to restore an old market condition, but to answer contemporary tastes using an old symbol. That is why the reveal feels strategically alive. It recognizes that the past can provide a framework for originality in the present. A revived BRAT does not have to recreate the exact social and automotive environment that once made the original special. It only has to translate the same fundamental promise into today's language: compact utility, accessible adventure, and irrepressible character. The event also highlights how brand memory works in the automotive world. Very few vehicles retain cultural visibility long after production ends unless they represented something distinctive. The BRAT has endured because it never dissolved into the background. Its very name, shape, and concept kept it in circulation within enthusiast talk, nostalgic recall, and broader automotive folklore. When Osaki reveals its return, Subaru is effectively activating dormant memory capital. That matters because memory can compress the distance between announcement and relevance. A new nameplate has to introduce itself from zero. The BRAT enters the conversation already carrying stories, associations, and emotional texture. But that memory capital is double-edged, which is part of what makes the reveal so bold. Reviving a beloved or at least well-remembered vehicle raises expectations immediately. The name comes with responsibilities. Subaru cannot treat the BRAT as a hollow branding exercise because the audience already has an instinctive sense of what the vehicle should stand for. Osaki's decision to bring it back therefore implies that Subaru believes it can meet those expectations at the level of concept and ethos. The reveal itself becomes a declaration of confidence that the company can honor history while creating something viable and appealing now. Another compelling implication involves Subaru's relationship with size and scale. Much of the industry has drifted toward larger footprints, heavier vehicles, and increasingly inflated ideas of what utility looks like. The BRAT historically represented a different philosophy. It suggested that usefulness did not require bulk and that adventure did not require excess. A return of the BRAT places Subaru into the conversation around right-sized utility, which feels increasingly relevant as urban driving, parking limitations, fuel awareness, and a more flexible idea of vehicle ownership reshape consumer preferences. Compactness, when paired with distinct purpose, can be aspirational rather than restrictive. That in turn gives the reveal a broader cultural resonance. The return of a vehicle like the BRAT speaks to an appetite for products that feel less overbuilt and more human-scaled. There is a growing appreciation for vehicles that invite use without intimidation, that feel friendly instead of imposing, and that balance practicality with ease. The BRAT has always carried those possibilities in its DNA. Osaki's reveal suggests Subaru recognizes that utility no longer needs to be communicated through aggression. It can also be communicated through adaptability, charm, and a clear invitation to live with the vehicle casually rather than ceremonially. The event may also signal a subtle recalibration of Subaru's storytelling. Modern car marketing often revolves around technology stacks, efficiency metrics, platform engineering, and lists of features. Those things matter, but they rarely become mythology. The BRAT gives Subaru an object around which it can build a richer narrative. This is a vehicle that naturally generates conversation about heritage, purpose, reinvention, and the connection between past and present. It turns product planning into story architecture. That is a major implication because strong stories help brands rise above transactional competition. People buy machines, but they often attach themselves to meanings. Osaki's reveal also invites consideration of audience layering. The BRAT can appeal to older enthusiasts who remember the name, younger buyers who are drawn to unusual compact utility, Subaru loyalists who appreciate heritage, and even casual observers who simply enjoy seeing a company do something unexpected. That multi-layered appeal is rare. Many vehicles speak clearly to one demographic and barely register with others. The BRAT, because of its history and concept, can resonate across generations for different reasons. The implication for Subaru is significant. A single model can become a bridge between nostalgia and discovery, between established loyalty and first-time intrigue. There is something especially clever about using the BRAT for this role, because it is not burdened by the same kind of ultra-formal prestige expectations attached to some legacy nameplates. It does not have to return as a sacred monument. it can return as a lively reinterpretation. That gives Subaru more freedom. The company can be imaginative without appearing disrespectful and serious about utility without draining the vehicle of its charm. Osaki's reveal therefore opens a lane where innovation and memory can interact more naturally. The BRAT is not a relic demanding museum treatment. It is a concept asking to be used again. Another implication lies in the emotional vocabulary of toughness. Subaru has long sold the idea that capability can be quietly assured. The BRAT adds a different dialect of toughness, one based not on macho exaggeration, but on cheerful resilience. That matters because a lot of the vehicle market still equates utility with visual aggression. The BRAT has the potential to offer an alternative image of durability, one that feels approachable, versatile, and even slightly irreverent. If that image is handled well, Subaru can strengthen its identity as a brand that understands adventure as something lived, not performed. The reveal also puts Subaru in a stronger position culturally because unusual vehicles generate disproportionate conversation. A predictable vehicle can be competent and still vanish into the daily stream of announcements. The BRAT does not vanish. The name alone invites reaction. The concept invites debate. The design implications invite speculation. The historical associations invite memory. From a visibility standpoint, that is extremely valuable. Osaki's reveal ensures that Subaru is not merely being discussed as a dependable automaker, but as a brand willing to shape the conversation. In an attention economy, that shift is meaningful in itself. It is also worth considering how the BRAT changes the symbolic relationship between Subaru and utility. Most practical vehicles are sold as tools first and identity objects second. The BRAT has always complicated that hierarchy. It is useful, but its usefulness is inseparable from its attitude. It does not pretend that utility must be boring to be legitimate. By bringing it back, Subaru appears to be asserting that everyday function can still be expressive. That is an important implication because it addresses one of the quiet frustrations in the modern market. People often need practical vehicles, but they do not want their purchase to feel emotionally neutral. This reveal can therefore be read as Subaru defending joy within practicality. That may sound abstract, but it is central to why some vehicles matter beyond transportation. The BRAT is a reminder that utility can carry delight, and that a product can solve everyday problems while still making its owner smile when they look at it. Osaki's announcement taps directly into that possibility. The event suggests a belief that delight is not ornamental, it is part of value. In a market where many vehicles pursue broad acceptability by sanding away edges, the BRAT's return implies Subaru sees an advantage in preserving some edges on purpose. There is also a fascinating implication for Subaru's long-term brand confidence. Companies only revive eccentric heritage products when they believe their core brand foundation is strong enough to support experimentation. The BRAT is not the move of a company searching desperately for attention from a position of weakness. It feels more like the move of a company aware of its strengths and looking to reintroduce some creative elasticity into how those strengths are expressed. Osaki revealing the BRAT's return suggests that Subaru is prepared to trust its audience with something more distinctive than incremental familiarity. That confidence matters because the automotive market increasingly rewards authenticity over manufactured coolness. The BRAT has authenticity built in because it emerged from a real historical moment and served a real purpose while developing a reputation for being unlike anything else around it. Modern interpretation can inherit that authenticity if Subaru stays true to the vehicle's underlying logic. That makes the reveal especially potent. Rather than inventing a synthetic lifestyle product from scratch, Subaru is reviving a name that already carries a believable relationship to utility, adventure, and unconventional appeal. The event also subtly reframes Subaru's design heritage. Brands are often remembered through their most mainstream achievements, but the soul of a company is sometimes more visible in its outliers. The BRAT is one of Subaru's most revealing outliers. It shows that the company has long been capable of making vehicles that are pragmatic, yet delightfully offbeat. Osaki's decision to revive it pulls that part of Subaru's heritage into the foreground. It tells the world that the brand's history is not only about dependable all-weather transportation, but also about creative category blending and a willingness to be endearingly strange. That is important because heritage can be selective. Companies choose which parts of their past to emphasize, and those choices shape what their future seems allowed to be. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, could you leave your comments below and tell us, what do you think about Atsushi Osaki bringing back the Subaru BRAT now? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.